Hi, Ger. Hi, everybody. This is Marguerite Tonery from Tribes Press, and this is Geraldine Renton, who today is launching. It's a virtual launch. We know it's a virtual launch, so there isn't a bookshop filled with people and glasses of wine, but we have our cups of tea instead. Have you
You
yours?
do?
We have our
I
cup of
do.
tea
And
and chocolate gold grain biscuits. And here we are with your debut novel, Ethan and Me. So, congratulations, Ger. Well done on it.
thank you very
Um,
much.
how are you doing? This has been quite a roller coaster of a year.
Yeah,
It's been
yeah.
an incredible year for you. Tell the listeners a little bit more about how your year has been.
In well, 2020, everybody had the lockdown. I obviously had that too. And at the beginning of the lockdown, we were getting ready to move Ethan into adult services. And so I had all that pressure as well of looking for the right place for Ethan and all that. I have to say, it actually went swimmingly well. And then the lockdown hit. And on the 22nd of March, my brother passed away. And then on September the 23rd, Ethan passed away suddenly. And meanwhile, I was trying to put the finishing touches to the book, Ethan and Me.
And the one thing that I found remarkable, because in September we were just about to do the last edit, the last
Right. Yeah.
read, the
Yeah.
last of everything, and I hadn't heard from you for a couple of days, and I thought that's a little bit strange. I wonder, but I don't want to put pressure on you. But I wonder what. And then I got a text message in to say that Ethan had passed away, and my heart bled for you, And I was telling the girls in our team who were involved in the editing of it, and they were shocked to hear the news as well. It's something that I don't think anybody would be able to comprehend unless they're actually going through it. So my sincere sympathy to you on the passing of Ethan and on your passing of your brother Liam. But what I found in all of that, because it was a lot that you had to do
Yeah.
in 1 year, what I found in all of it is that I think it was an email or a phone call. I don't know which it was. I think it was one or the other. And hi, Marguerite. I think I'm ready to finish
Me.
the book. And I was like, is she
Are you
serious?
sure?
Serious? Because I think I was like, is this not a little bit too soon? But
Yeah.
what amazed me about what you were doing is that you're honoring what your promise to your brother, because your brother
Yeah.
Liam had asked you to
Will I
publish
just
this
get the
book.
damn thing published? Just
Yeah,
words. Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
honoring your brother Liam, and you're also honoring Ethan. And
Yeah.
it's like it was you made a promise to both of them, and it was like no matter what, you were going to fulfill that promise.
Yeah.
And there's a huge strength in character in that. I don't know where you found your strength to do it, but I congratulate you on it, and we all must. Anybody who hears the story must admire you for what you have done to be able to keep putting one foot in front of the other. And I think when I have been involved in the editing and proofreading and that, but I think when you read this book, it is the case that throughout Ethan's life, there were so many setbacks and so many challenges
Yeah.
that you just had to put one foot in front of the other.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like as if at this stage in your existence that you can. I don't know what else to do other than to keep moving forward. It's like I don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
And would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, it was completely. I know how it sounds like. Oh, how did she do it? But as you said, I did it because I made a promise, and I did it because we had most of the work done.
Yeah.
Me and Tribes Press, we did. It was a matter of just crossing the T's and dotting the I's. And I thought, what's that? That's a week's work if I do it really slowly and take my time doing it and send it on to Marguerite and the crew. And it's done. And at least I'll have that. And selfishly, it was a thing as well for something for me to look forward to.
Mm.
But I love looking at his little picture and
Yeah.
his little
Beautiful.
face and
Yeah.
smile. Yeah, it's a beautiful photograph.
Yeah.
And it just, I suppose it kept me busy and kept me occupied. So I wasn't dwelling. I'm not a dweller. I don't dwell on things. If I can't do anything about them, I move fast on it. But with Ethan, obviously, that's a whole different ball game. But I tend to think, well, this is the hand I'm dealt. This is what I do. I can either fall on the ground and crumble. I did do that, but I don't have to stay there. And that's what Ethan has taught me all through his life, that
Yeah,
you can take it back, but you must get back up.
yeah.
So I did.
And you're mentioning the cover there, and I
Yeah.
love the cover as well when it came in, because it was they took the sea, wrapped it around all the way around
Yeah.
from the west coast of Ireland, so you know
Lovely.
he's from close to the ocean, and you know
Yeah.
it was just a perfect for a man who's a designer who lives in the mountains, the Alps in France.
That's right. Yeah.
Taken this and just nailed it the first time.
He did. He absolutely
Really,
did.
really great job.
When I saw it, I said, "Oh, that's the cover." There was no question. I was so quick to remember when you sent me. I was like, "That's the one." Done. Yeah, I just
Beautiful
thought it was lovely.
photograph of Ethan.
It
And
is.
I think he's smiling on this cover, and he
Mm-hmm.
smiled an awful lot through the book. Through all his challenges, he seemed to laugh.
Yeah.
Like there was that laugh,
Yes.
and there was that fun. And I never met the boy, but I met him through the pages of this book.
Yes. Yeah.
And he just seemed to have a great sense of humor. Would you tell us more about that in the book, the different things that happened along the way?
Oh, well, Ethan, one of my favorite memories of Ethan was when he's making his Holy Communion. And Ethan didn't really have the cognitive ability to understand what Holy Communion meant. But like with the rest of his peers, he had to go and do his Holy Communion. At that stage, he was in a special needs school. And we suited and booted him. He was a man who loved fashion. So he was going around with his suit on and his tie and showing everybody his shiny shoes. He loved the shiny shoes. And he didn't like the idea of Mass. Now, Mass was something it didn't fit into his plan for his Holy Communion Day. So we had told Ethan on the QT that he'd be getting, he used to call money dollars. So we were saying, people will give you dollars, so when you get all the dollars, mommy and daddy will bring you to Smith's, but you must be quiet at Mass first. Well, he promised us, I'll be brilliant, I'll be good, I promise, I promise, I promise. And we used to say, pinky swear to him, and his little hands were curled like that. So we'd grab you with his little baby finger and hook you and go, I promise. And I wish every time he did it, I was like, I wish I could believe you. But I knew I couldn't. I knew that word meant nothing to him. So inside the church, we're all there. Everybody's, he's very excited because I have a huge family. So they're all there. Dave's family are all there. Friends are there. It's great. And he's getting more and more excited because he's seen all these people he loves and they're all handing him cards. And I'm going, oh, please don't give him cards. Because he's opening them and shaking them. And dollars, loves all that. So I'm like, Mammy will mind them. Jesus, just stop. We're in Mass now. Be good. So the priest, as priests do, rambled during the sermon. And Ethan was getting twitchy beside me on the seat, and I put my hand on him and I said, 5 minutes. But he was sick of me telling him 5 more minutes. And he stood up. He said, Amen, and I said,
over now, priest.
Yeah, we'd had enough. Then 2 minutes later, up again, Amen. I said, Ethan, sit down. And then the last one was, fucking Amen. And I went, I just had to laugh. All I could see were the parents ahead of us in the pews, their shoulders going up and down. So I knew they were all laughing. And I was like, oh my God. And then Dave turns around and he said, well, at least he used it in the right context. He's only saying what people were thinking. And I was like, yeah. So that's definitely one of my favorite memories of Ethan. Definitely. I just adore that memory.
And I think it's a precious book in that the memories are there and they're held tightly within the pages. There's so many other memories, but the memories are tightly in the pages. And you get to share with people who are going through this, somebody who has a newly diagnosed child, or somebody who's maybe 5, 6, 7 years going through it or longer. And you kind of give, you definitely give people hope in the book. You give them a pathway, you give them a sense of knowing that they're all right, that it's, you can do this, you can get through this. It's difficult. Diagnosis is difficult. Like even the language of diagnosis is difficult.
Yeah.
The child has, and it's a different thing for different people. But sit in front of a consultant, a medical consultant, and you're sitting there and this person is just telling you
your word is changing.
Your child has a life-changing or life-altering diagnosis, and that your lives will never be the same again.
Mm.
And you're there for all of 2, 3, 4 minutes, I think, and it's a blur after that. And then
Yeah.
you get up, you walk out the door, you walk down the corridor, and you say, "What was that? What did he actually? What was it?
Mean and say,
Yeah,
yeah.
what was So, and then there is a word of advice. There's ask the questions. You
Mm.
said it in here, and don't be afraid. I think that's a good thing because you say don't be afraid. It doesn't matter that you don't have the medical information. You aren't educated as a doctor.
Exactly.
That wasn't you may be an engineer. You may be whatever you are, a house. You maybe work from home. You maybe work with your children. You've there's so many different
Things, yeah,
professions
of
in
course.
life,
Yeah.
and you don't have that information. But that don't feel intimidated.
Yeah.
Ask questions, and I think that comes across really strongly.
Yeah. I'm a firm believer in remembering that all those people with their initials after the name go to the toilet the same way you do and I do. So that's what I learned.
Yeah,
So I wouldn't be intimidated by someone with a couple of initials after their name.
yeah, and
But it took me
I
a while
think
to get there, to be fair.
yeah, and like there was times when you knew there was something wrong, and you knew there was
Oh,
something
yeah.
wrong, and you knew there was something wrong, and you're like, what is it, and nobody had an answer for you, and you were being almost disregarded, you felt, by
I
your
was, yeah.
profession at times. And I don't know if there's a single person who is about to be diagnosed or has already been diagnosed with a chronic condition who hasn't felt that at some stage.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
and it's you explain it, you explain how you felt in it, and it really is a powerful piece of writing when you tell every one of us, look, at I felt this way, this is what it was, but keep going, and you did. And you
Yeah.
went on.
Yeah. There's just no other choice.
Yeah,
I think that's what people don't understand when they say, oh, you're amazing, you're inspirational. It's lovely. They're lovely things to be called, obviously. But I didn't have a choice, you know? You
mm.
don't have a choice.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
in front of
my
you,
baby.
yeah,
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 of course, he's my baby. I do anything for him.
yeah,
So choice was never a thing.
yeah.
So, yeah.
And thank God choice was never in your mind. Thank God
No,
you didn't say, well, I don't want him. I didn't.
no.
You
Yeah.
said, this is my child. I
Oh, yeah.
want to fight it tooth and nail for him. And
Yeah.
you did.
Yeah. I did my best by him. Yeah. Yeah. I know I did my best by him. Yeah.
You certainly did. From reading this book, like everything you did out of love, and you never stopped until you got the answers, and well done on that. There's a number of different things at the end of the book. You have like a list.
On my list. Yeah.
What I loved about the book is that at the start of each little chapter, you have like like this one is just I just happened to open this. Let me love you a little more before you are not little anymore.
Quotes.
Um, the quotes at the top of each chapter are beautiful, uh,
Lovely idea. Yeah.
and well done on those. The people with the best advice are usually the ones who have been through the most. They're very
So
simple,
true.
but they're very,
Yeah.
very, very
Yeah.
true. Yeah, well done on those. I have to just say though, at the end, there's like, let me think, 35 tips to people who are in
That's only
the
for
situation.
them.
I'm going to try and find tip number 1. Life can change in an instant without warning and without your consent. In fact, your consent is never required. Accept that. And I
Mm-hmm.
suppose that's the part where when you may first have a diagnosis and you don't want this in your life.
Oh, of course, yeah, totally understandable. Like when you hear stories of parents who just can't get their heads around what the professional is telling them. Totally, I didn't embrace it or accept it, or I didn't want anything to do with the diagnosis. I thought they were wrong.
Mm.
But as time went on, and it does actually become, you do end up looking it up, looking about all these other kids, and realizing that Hunter syndrome isn't Ethan and wasn't Ethan, but it's very much part of Ethan.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
have to accept, you do have to. And I think every parent does accept it, any diagnosis, once they realize that.
Yeah, when they get to that point, and it's really important for somebody to get to that point, because I've met people who haven't, and then their children, until the child was a teenager, and then the child couldn't be accepted into a special school because they were already
in mainstream. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was, and yeah, I've met that as well. So number 6 here, there is always someone who surprises you by just showing up and being there.
Yeah.
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 So who's
Always,
been
always.
there? Who has been there? Who's shown up and been there?
Oh, my closest friends. I have
Yeah.
3 very lovely, lovely girlfriends. I've had them since I started secondary school. But the people who surprise me are the people that I have met, let's say, at a group who were talking about our kids. They've all different special needs. One of those mothers has rang me out of the blue. I've had people contact me from another mother of a child with Hunter syndrome ring me from England to say hello and just check in. I've had a mother visit all the way from England to meet Ethan, and it's just, when you're going through a hard time, especially when you're going through a hard time, you do see who your friends are. And I did lose a lot of friends when Ethan was diagnosed. And that sounds just terrible, I know, but people don't
Oh,
know what to say.
yeah,
Yeah,
I've seen it. I've seen it happen myself. I've been in situations where that has happened, and the true friends stay.
they do. Yeah, and I'm blessed. I have 3 very good ones. I've met a good few, 2 or 3 along the way since. So I'm surrounded by lovely, lovely friends.
I'm going to, when I see, I'll try another. Number 11, laughter is absolutely priceless. There isn't a nicer sound. And well, that epitomizes Ethan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it really does.
Yeah.
So that's this is something that's come across in your book very well. Your ability to crack a joke, your ability to add humor to the most dire situations in order to get you through those situations. I've seen you put humor throughout the book. There are, as you said here, a laugh out moments in the book.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit more about that.
I
The
don't know,
importance
humor.
of just
Yeah.
lightening the load for yourself, just for people who are in the situation.
Well, yeah, for myself, as I said before, you have options when your world changes like the way ours did and changed constantly. But one option is to say this is very unfair and dwell. And it is very unfair. I'm not saying it isn't. It is very unfair. But for me, acknowledging that unfairness is part of accepting it.
Yeah.
So I do that. And then when I'm telling a story about Ethan, or any situation we're in with Ethan, some of it now I couldn't say on here because these would be specific conversations that I have with close friends and friends of other children with special needs. You have to laugh. You have to laugh because there's times where it is funny. Like, I mean, it is like him. I remember a very quick story. It's not in the book, of him running around the park, and we thought everything was great, and he had regressed wearing nappies. And next thing, Dave looked at me and said, "What's coming down Ethan's trouser leg?" You guess what it was? Yeah. And then you want to see the 2 of us trying to catch him. Well, did he give, pardon the pun, a crap? He did not. He kept running and saying, "Poo-poo in my pants, catch me." And that is Ethan. I mean, I could have said, "Oh my God, I can't believe he's in nappies. He's now 8 and he was toilet trained and he's lost all that." I knew all that already. Now this is the child I had, but he was crack. I mean, absolutely great crack. I knew how to rile us.
Oh yeah, actually here you have number 15. Every day make a note of a happy moment.
Yeah, I think it's important.
That's really it. Write it down. You'll find that there are quite a few. The simplest of things can become treasured moments.
Yeah.
Isn't that very true? The simplest of things can become treasured moments. Yeah. I'm just going to I'm going to try another one here.
Oh God.
Oh, this is actually a good one here. Number 32. Cry when you need to cry.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I think we suppress a lot of that emotions. I'm the devil for doing it. I will have a little weep if my kids are here and I feel it. But if I feel it's going to be a big ball, I will go upstairs and do it. But I won't not cry. And that took me years to learn. Because I used to, you can't cry. Don't cry. You can't cry. And this thing of someone else has it worse. I hate that mentality.
Yeah, that's a very honest thing to say. No
It
matter
is,
how bad your thing is, they tell you someone else has something
Yeah.
else. That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just what you're feeling right now. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm talking about what other people haven't done, but what I'm going through, or whoever we're talking about is going through. And I think, again, it comes back to acknowledging it. So I acknowledge what I've learned through mindfulness, really. is that ball, that's you want to cry, Jerry, you need to let that out. So I'll just excuse myself if I know that it's one of those deep cries. Ever since Ethan passed too, really. And I'll go upstairs and I'll have a good cry for myself. And then I'll come down when I'm ready and continue.
The bravery of Geraldine Renton. I think the rest is still unwritten. The very last one. The rest is still.
I love it.
I have to say that I admire your strength, and I admire your courage, and I admire your ability to fulfill the promises left by others. Do you know? You really. This is a salute to Liam, and this is a salute to Ethan, very much so. And I thank God Liam came on this earth for no other reason than to get the ass to get this accomplished, because I think this is a fantastic resource for other parents who have a special needs child. And I think beyond that, it's a lovely story. It's a true story. It's a story of hope in difficult times. It's a story. It's not trying to be anything it isn't. It's a very honest story. It's a very as you read it, you connect. And one thing about the story that we really wanted to get across is the size of the book. We wanted the book to be a book you could put into your handbag.
Exactly. Yeah, I remember
that. When you're sitting somewhere, hopefully when lockdown lifts, you're sitting somewhere and you can read it at a coffee shop. You can read it in a waiting room.
Easy to take with you. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and that's we also have this idea that we keep the chapter short, because it is often the case that if you're a carer, you're exhausted most of the time. You don't have the energy to read a long chapter. So it's the chapters are short, and they're catchy, and you get something from each of them. And that's what we wanted. So it's a neat book. It's a nice handy book to put into your handbag.
Absolutely.
Everywhere you go. And wonderful achievement. And I said, well done to you, and well done to Ethan.
You guys. Well, without you now, I wouldn't have done it either. You've been great with encouraging me and all that. So thank you guys too.
Well, you're very welcome. And the last thing we're going to say is this: Ethan and Me is available on the Tribes Press website. So it's Tribes Press is an online shop. So it's Tribes Press /shop, and Ethan and Me is there for anybody who wants to purchase it. And it costs €10 for the book. Okay, so thank you, Ger, for being here. Thank you for this interview. And I wish you continued success with Ethan and Me. It's already moving very fast. And I'm looking forward to seeing what else you're going to write. So, but for now, we'll sign off and say thank you to all the listeners. And I wish you the very best of luck, Couture. Take care.
Thank you.